This week on TGC News, a new 50 caliber AK, my message to everyone following San Bernardino, and other gun newsy type stuff and things. The Gen 3 handguards from Midwest Industry are a slim, lightweight option for your AR-15. Available in 5 different lengths in both key mod and M-LOK, they come standard with 5 QD attachment points, as well as their patent-pending torque plate system. To get 10% off the Gen 3 M, K, ML, and KL rails, use the code TGC Gen 3, all caps, at MidwestIndustriesInc.com. Welcome back. My name is Jon Patton, and you guys are killing it on the photo contest submissions. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, we're doing a photo contest every month, and this month's theme is rifles. To have a chance to win a prize pack, you can post your picture of your cool rifles on the TGC Facebook page or post it on Instagram and tag this stuff right here. Now, this week's first story is about something I will be following very closely for the next few months. It's all about a very special AK. Let me give you guys some context. A few months ago, while I was in Georgia at the IV-8888 shoot, I met a young man with a YouTube channel called The AK Guy by the name of Brandon Herrera. He seemed like a nice guy, but unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to spend a lot of time with him at the event. Little did I know that he had something huge up his sleeves. I said up his sleeves, you perverts. No, not his arms. All right, I guess I used the wrong colloquialism there. Anyway, he was keeping a secret. Well, what was the secret? He was working on this. A 50 BMG AK, otherwise known as the AK-50. A what? That's right, a 50 BMG AK. Brandon just announced that the gun exists a few days ago and that they're in the process of putting together an aluminum prototype with the full production version intended to be mostly steel. Let me be the first to say, dear God, I want one of these. There really aren't a lot of details available yet, but he did mention that the guns will be CNC machined instead of stamped or forged to keep quality up. He also mentioned that the gun is slated to use Barrett M82 magazines because of the availability thereof. The final detail that came out was the MSRP. It's $7,000. Now, that may sound like a lot, but it's competitive with the M82A1 right now, and that's really smart. You know, I like Brandon. His passion for AKs and now this gun are absolutely incredible to watch. However, I have to say that I share the same sentiment that a lot of people do right now. I want to see it shoot. It's not a real thing until it actually starts firing rounds. He did tell me that they hope to have one firing very soon, so do me a favor and leave a comment below letting him know that you guys want to see that gun right here on TGC when it sets off rounds. And in It's a Slow News Week news, there really isn't a whole lot going on, guys, that's worth getting into, so I've decided that I'm just going to hit a few key points for you guys. L3 Communications, the company that owns EOTech, is handing out refunds to people after being sued for over $25 million by the U.S. government. The problem is, instead of cash, they're giving people gift certificates for more EOTechs. Smith & Wesson is in the news because they have sold 1 million M&P shields. Originally released in 2012, these things ended up with perfect timing for one of the largest gun buying rushes ever recorded. It's not common for a gun to stay in demand that long, but they've managed to do it because it really is a good gun. And for no other reason than to make you laugh, I wanted to show you guys this. A muzzle brake covered in Picatinny rails. If your week starts to suck, I want you to think back and remember that this exists. And in case you're confused as to why this is hilarious, imagine this. Moving on. Now it's time to get a little bit more serious. What I'm about to read to you guys is something I posted on social media in the wake of the San Bernardino shooting. I try to steer clear of politics on this show because honestly, they're infuriating. However, at the same time, I think it's important that I use the voice I have to share a simple message. Here's the post. I think it's very interesting that rather than allowing a person to have a fighting chance by arming themselves if they choose, not by force, There are people that are suggesting that being completely defenseless in a terrible situation is somehow a better option. Much of that opinion is based on distrust and fear, which are feelings. And I think the biggest hurdle that pro-self-defense supporters have to overcome is helping anti-self-defense supporters understand that their feelings don't really matter when it comes to the natural right of self-defense. We, as a community, are not forcing gun ownership by any means. Why force us to follow your belief structure? Why not say, you know what, that's none of my business, because one day that guy that you don't trust or that has a life-saving tool of which you have an irrational fear may just be the person you need in a time of desperation. I'm responsible for my actions as a pro-self-defense supporter and fully expect every gun owner in the country to also be responsible for every round that may leave their gun. It's only fair. Yet somehow, there are those that do not trust the fact that my conscious decision to strap a firearm to my waist was an understanding that I may have to use that firearm, and therefore I am responsible. Every day you drive down the road with cars that are coming the other way at anywhere between 25 and 70 miles an hour normally, and you don't think twice about the fact that one stray car could end you. Why? Because you have an understanding that accidents happen and hopefully nothing bad happens to you when you leave the house. How can we not translate this expectation to the expectation for firearms ownership? The community promotes proper training now more than ever, but somehow that's not enough for people. Somehow that grants labels such as right-wing gun nut or anti-government militia member instead of upstanding American citizen willing to go the extra mile because they understand that they are personally responsible for themselves. The unwillingness to accept personal responsibility is atrocious and deplorable. The desire to force me to disarm because of your lack of understanding of a defensive tool is shameful. I am an upstanding, law-abiding American citizen, and I should not be punished for the acts of a murderer or a terrorist. All that I ask is that we take the time to understand the reality of the situation and prepare as we see fit, not as others see fit. Thank you. My name's Jon Patton. I'm the owner of the Gun Collective. This week's Friendly Fire question is from Rowboat Willie on Instagram, and he asks, what kind of licensing and training do you need to legally own a silencer? I picked this question because I think it's important to shed more light on the NFA. I actually did a 3-part series on my old channel called Understanding the NFA. If you guys are looking for more detail, go check that out. Willie, the long and short of this is that you don't need a license or training. You pay for something called a tax stamp that is essentially a way for the ATF to say you have permission or approval to own that item. I'll break it down using a suppressor as an example. Essentially, you go into your gun store, pay for the can you want, they give you a bunch of paperwork to fill out, you send the paperwork out with your fingerprints, passport photos, along with a check for $200, and then wait for what seems like an eternity for the ATF to approve or deny your stamp. That's pretty much the most basic way for me to explain it. There are a lot of other variables that are possible here, but that's the short version of it. I hope that helps, brother. My friendly fire question to you guys this week is, what is your favorite 5.56 muzzle brake right now? Muzzle device, whatever. I'm looking at getting a few new ones for a whole bunch of guns that I put together recently, and I want to know what you guys are digging. Let me know your answer down in the comments below. If you want your question answered right here on TGC News, you can post that over on Facebook.com or post it on Instagram and Twitter using hashtag #FriendlyFire. The Kombat wallet from Hellbent holsters offers rugged simplicity for your EDC. Offered in small, medium, and large sizes, they've got one to fit your needs. Also available are these badass custom titanium money clips. To get 10% off your entire order at hellbentholsters.com, use the code TGC10. And unfortunately, that is it for this week's show. Guys, you know what to do if you enjoyed the episode. If you didn't, let me know down in the comments so we can talk about it. Do not forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss a single week of the show. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon. Hey, did you watch last week's show? Or maybe the one before that? And did you subscribe yet? You need to do that. Click right here to subscribe. Do it now.